as I was saying, Yvonne, so it was been a long day, and coming from upstate New York, at 3 hours away here to New Jersey, and you know, it started out at about 7:30 this morning, and I didn't get my tan until 3. So I was scheduled to get my polygraph at about 10 after 11, and so that ended up being boot kicked up to about, I don't know, about 1:30 or 2 almost, and so I went right polygraph to the tan, so it all worked out in the end pretty well. But they did a good job setting up there. I have to say, the room itself, they did a great job there at the hotel.
Look at that. So now that you have been tanned, do you feel like this is really going to happen?
I do. Thank God. I mean, geez. I mean, you know, one of your questions, I believe, was, you know, how did you prep through this contest? And, you know, my answer was going to be, you know, quite simply that I was already preparing contest before the pandemic even broke out, which was the one in Syracuse in April. You know, yeah, I finished second in the New York State championships back in November in Syracuse. So when I left, and, you know, I said to myself, you know what, I'm coming back here in April, you know, and finishing this. It was the Open for the classic men's physique. And so that was my target. That was my target contest, you know, going into, you know, before this all broke out, the pandemic, that is. And so I was already training. So when it did happen, I actually took a couple of weeks, you know, to regroup and, you know, refocus and just, you know, think about my next steps, what I was going to do. And so I saw this contest, and, you know, I said, okay, this looks like a good one, the Big Apple. That was going to be my first this was going to be my first pro contest, actually, if I had done well, you know, in April and finished the job that I would have, that I, you know, tried to finish back in November of last year. So it all worked out well in the end. It all worked out.
Look at that. So what did you learn about yourself through all of this?
Well, what I learned about myself through all this is that, you know, pretty much, you know, if you have the dedication and you have the drive and the willpower, and you can, you know, you can get yourself through some of even the toughest times, you know what I mean? And that's what really, when I look at the situation and what we were handed, no gyms open, you know, having obstacles to hurdle to get things done. You know, I look back at it and I say, well, you know what, it's a huge accomplishment, not just getting here on an ordinary circumstances, but now the obstacles into the no gyms, having to work out in the basement, you know, 5 days a week, keeping yourself focused, you know, keeping your diet on track. And don't forget, you know, you gotta deal with all the stresses that came with this too, you know, stress of the environment, you know, stress of home life, you know, stress of, you know, work, you know, stress of the kids are home now all the time, you know. So there was a lot of other factors, you know, when you throw in the mix of, you know, how did you handle yourself through all this? It's just, to be honest with you, I'll tell you, Yvonne, it's when I look at it on it, it's you know, it's hard to imagine that I am here, or anybody can be here and be, you know, looking back at what they had to go through on an unordinary situation. You know, it really is a big feat and a huge, you know, huge accomplishment. You know, huge accomplishment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and it's happening. It's actually happening, George. It's happening.
It's actually happening. No virtual. I'm going tomorrow.
It's actually happening.
Pro card, yes.
You know, for me, I definitely take nothing for granted anymore. At least I try not to, or I try to be, what do they say, like present in the moment. And I want you to be in the moment of being, you know, when you have your last meal for today, I want you to be present in the moment when you go to sleep, because when you wake up tomorrow.
Oh, I'm going to go tomorrow, because you know what, like you just said a little while ago, it's happening, you know, so it hit me after I got the tan and it's drying and I'm sitting here in this hotel room and I'm saying to myself, you know what, I'm going to start carving up a little bit and I'm going to go to bed for a while, and this is going to happen tomorrow, and that's great.
Yes. All right. So once you're able to now eat what you want, or almost a little bit of what you want, is there a go-to place that you've been like craving?
Well, you know, there's a diner down the road here.
Not
there's
too
a
far.
few diners all over, but I think I'm craving breakfast food. You know, I haven't really gonna go for breakfast food. Yeah, I'm gonna go with pancakes, a little bit of waffle, maybe an omelet, stuffed, of course, and maybe even a grilled cheeseburger with a little bit of bacon.
Okay. You know, somebody should have warned them that we were going to have a bodybuilding show, because there's going to be like massively hungry people, and they're going to be like, okay, but there's only one, but there's 4 plates.
You mentioned that, Yvonne, because when I'm sitting there in the hallway and we're all sitting there, and of course we know we're socially distancing and everything properly, and we're all sitting there, and that was the conversation. That was the top of the conversation, was, where are you eating tomorrow? What are you having? Yeah.
It's important.
We're all hungry.
It's so important. Oh my gosh, people just don't know. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Anything at all? It doesn't have to be bodybuilding, just anything you'd like to share.
Well, you know, I mean, other than the fact that, you know, you guys put on a good show, you know, and that, you know, I'm happy that this is going to happen, and I'm actually getting the opportunity to, you know, finish what I came to started last November. You know, that was my first show with the OCB, and I was really impressed with the way you guys handled it as far as the testing goes and stuff. Because that, to me, you know, that's important. You know, natural contact. You want to see everybody getting tested, and you want to make sure that everybody is doing it the right way. And you guys do a great job of it. So I just want to say, you know, you guys run a good show and a great job, and I can't wait till things get back to the way they used to be.
Well, your promoters were Paul, Pete, and Lorraine. I'm just the MC and the coordinator and the, I don't know, tabulator. I have a couple hats, but I appreciate it, and they'll see this and they'll appreciate it. We're so glad to have you. So glad that this can actually happen. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Sounds great. Look forward to seeing you too, Yvonne.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.